obnoxious. This whole concept is that I realize I don't have enough actual options when it comes to decks on Magic Online. I used to have quite a few decks, but they were mostly decks when we were doing like Commander Online and Commander Magic Online, Commander League before that, and 3D8 streams and stuff. So I cleaned out my MTGO list, but then I kept the ones that I really did like, or the ones that I then adapted to be decks for myself. That kind of like cleaned it down to maybe like 10 decks. So now I haven't really been playing or even trying to play Magic Online because I don't have a lot of options. And a lot of the decks are ones that I've, played a bunch. So not that I don't like playing them, but I guess I wish I had more options. So I went through every color combination, or lack of color combination for colorless, and I basically made this huge list of 118 commanders that I think either that I have played before and I've enjoyed, or I think I would enjoy and I've always wanted to make and I just haven't yet, blah blah blah, something like that. So the idea is to just kind of come on, once a week, once every other week, make a deck, because I want to make the decks anyway, and just kind of enjoy it with stream and get some other inputs from people if they stop by the chat and stuff like that. So if you have comments or suggestions or like pet cards that you like, you can shout them out, and if I don't know what they are, I can look them up, and I'll decide if I want to put them in or not. I will say this though, even though this is like a stream and obviously there's chat interaction, these decks are very much ones that I want to play. So if there are cards that would be really good in the deck, but maybe I don't like their play style, or the folks that I play with really wouldn't like them, I probably won't put them in, even if they're good in the deck. And a good example of that is, like, I play a lot of decks with black in them that deal well with sacrifice stuff, but I probably won't run a lot of like Grave Pact effects because my lovely wife, who can't run answers for Grave Pact, even though she's in green and white most of the time, doesn't like those effects. So I just don't run them because it's just easier, and it's more respectful, I think, to just be like, hey, don't piss people off that you're gonna try to play with, especially if you're trying to have fun. Same thing for like I probably won't run a lot of Cyclonic Rift unless it's a deck that's very scene based, and I feel like it's like weak enough where I can kind of justify it, because again, one of the players that I play with a lot doesn't really like Cyclonic Rift, and it doesn't super matter to me. Like, it's a great card, but I'm not in love with it, or I don't hate it, so it is what it is. And then the only other one I can think of off the top of my head is, you might not see me put Soul Ring in a lot of decks. I know that's going to seem weird, but when we were doing like Commander Online, we basically said like, hey, we're not going to run Soul Ring just to avoid like those lopsided starts and everything. And I've gotten so used to it that when I made like the Kelsian deck tech video for our YouTube channel, I didn't put Soul Ring in it. And I realized it like after I published the video and it started getting like a lot of views. I went back and I like rewatched ones and I was like, I never put a Soul Ring in this deck. Yep. And then actually, it's funny, somebody just recently commented on it. They're like, hey, why don't you run Soul Ring in your Commander deck? Like, I thought every deck ran Soul Ring. I'm like, how do I explain this? So first deck I want to run. Oh, and if you are in the chat, let me know if I know there's music playing. I don't hear the music. It's just playing for you guys. It should be background noise. If it's too loud, let me know if you can't hear me or something over it. But so the first deck I want to start with is Teshar, Ancestor's Apostle. I'm not going to do like all the white ones and then all the blue ones and then all the black ones and all the red ones and all the green ones. It's very much going to just be whatever I feel like building, whatever I'm interested in. For Teshar, I have enjoyed this commander since I first saw Jeremy Knoll play it in Commander Versus, and in the episode that he first played it, I believe it was like a $50 budget theme where all their decks had to be $50 or less. He played his, I really liked the interactions. I felt like it was really strong for one, mono white, and two, for a $50 deck, and I think he liked it so much that he actually kept the list and then built upon it past that $50 budget. And I think he says it's still not like super expensive. Yeah, I think the last time he played it for one of their episodes where they just got to play one of their personal decks, I want to say he mentioned it was still under like $200. So I think that's really cool when you can have a very strong deck for very cheap. And of course, like I'm going to be playing these on Online, and you can see right here, these prices are not very steep. So 41 ticks, 20 ticks, 36 ticks, 36 ticks, 47 ticks. So this really is not a huge amount. Some of these dollar amounts are, but I'm guessing they have like reserve list cards or something in them. So yeah, I'm probably not gonna run anything like super duper expensive. With this is the kind of deck where like you do something to get a thing back, and then you take the thing and you use that to do something to get another thing back, and it kind of like snowballs. Like your turns tend to start with one action, and then next thing you know, you've done 15 things on your turn, and you're like really far ahead. I really like those kind of things. It reminds me of how I built like kind of like my Muldrotha deck, where like I always had something to do. Even through like Grave Hate, I remember one time I was playing with Erin Campbell in Vegas, I want to say last year, and she exiled my graveyard like twice, and I was down to like half my deck, and I still managed to end that game with kind of like a funny combo, but not like combo, but a funny synergy. And the deck still felt like I was doing stuff all the time. So I like stuff like that. I like having options. Even if I'm not winning, even if I'm not necessarily like ending the game, at least I'm able to do something and participate and affect the outcome of the game some way. That to me is like how you know your deck's at least performing well, is when you matter in the game. You don't want to sit there and do nothing for half the game and then die, or even if you sit there for half the game and like go under the radar doing next to nothing and then combo out. I mean, that's kind of boring. I've had decks that do that, but I don't really like. I like incremental value, so that I'm doing a little bit here and there, here and there, here and there, and kind of building up, and then eventually I do like to win. So I have EDH Rec open. I have also deck stats open, and I also have Scarfall open, so that I can kind of, you know, go back and forth between things depending on what I need. I will start another deck. Ignore. We'll of course make a commander deck. It'll be a Teshar deck. I'm not looking. Oh, some of these decks are going to be odd. They're not going to necessarily be. Oh, that's cool that they added this. Nice. This is much better than like what it was over there. All right. That makes it the commander, right? Some of these decks are not going to be like super normal themed. They're gonna be like themey decks. One of them is, I think on the list I have Queen Marchesa, which is the red, white, and black one. The deck idea I have in mind is it's gonna be a thematically kingdom deck, where like every card is gonna have a place in the kingdom. So there's gonna be a king card in there because, you know, queen, king. There's gonna be like a cleric in there that's gonna be the head of the clergy. There's gonna be, I think when I did this once before, I had Oros the Avenger as like the pet dragon. He was like the royal pet, and it was a dragon. I'm gonna have some kind of a general in there who's gonna be a soldier. I'm gonna have, you know, soldier token creators, just as a matter of, you know, queen needs an army, blah blah blah. There's probably gonna be some kind of castle in there. I'll probably do like Cabal coffers, because, you know, you gotta have the royal graveyard, right? You gotta have place to put your dead, so stuff like that. For this one though, it is more about the interactions and the way the deck plays, so it will be less theme. There's not a theme to this one. So when I build a deck, I usually have an idea in mind of what I want to do, which is great, but at the end of the day, in order to be able to do the things that I want to do, I recognize that I have to have certain things to support my ability to build up and do those things. I have to have draw power. I have to have ramp. I have to have this, that, and the other thing. So I usually, when I'm building a deck, especially in a website like Deck Stats or something like that, if I'm not just pulling cards out of my collection, when I'm doing something for online, I tend to make groups, and then as I come with cards, I put them into those groups, and I try to satisfy those groups first and make them selections that fit in the group, but also fit the commander, the overarching deck theme. So Teshar tends to be an artifact commander, because artifacts are historic spells. Otherwise you're going to do, there might be a few planeswalkers, there might be a few legendary creatures, but overall it's going to be artifacts and recursion and stuff like that. So I will want a lot of the cards that are going to draw and ramp and etc to be artifact based, whether they are artifacts themselves or they just do it through the use of artifacts like clue tokens or something. If we're going to talk about like Bygone Bishop, which interacts with Teshar because 3 CMC is kind of a thing. So let's get the categories built. Yeah. Card advantage. Ramp. Removal and wrath. So I used to do removal and wrath separately, but now I have started putting them together. Not for any particular reason. It is just easier, I think, put them together, because like typically in a deck I'll run like maybe 3 wraths and then like a little bit more in terms of removal, especially if it's in colors where you have like permanent removal as opposed to like specific permanent removal. So yeah, I don't know. I hate doing like teeny tiny categories. You know, makes the list longer. I want to say there's another category I have, and then do lands. So for a to start, I'm going to whoops. I'm going to start off putting 38 planes in. Those are basically just plane holders. Obviously, 38 won't be my total. 38 basic lands won't be my final land count. I'm going to go back later. I do like the lands kind of last typically, because you know you want to pick out, see if you can pick out cards that have like certain synergies and stuff like that. Obviously, like Buried Ruin is going to be in the deck because it's going to be artifact. Inventor's Fair is probably going to be in the deck because it's artifacts, stuff like that. But I don't worry about that like usually right up in front. I usually worry about that toward the end. So first of all, Teshar, I have the card up on the screen for you guys to see pretty much at all times, so that if I ever forget what I'm doing, you guys can kind of tell me. So Teshar, Ancestor is a partial. Costs 3 and a white. It's a bird cleric. It's a 2/2 flyer. Whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Artifacts, legendaries, and sagas are historic. So, like I said, a lot of artifacts and a lot of 3 cost or less creatures, because it specifically brings back creatures. So, even though like I can cast a Soul Ring and bring back Pilgrim's Eye, something like that. So I want to quickly look at these, because I have not looked at a Teshar deck in a while. So Relic Vial, 3 mana artifact, 2 tap, sacrifice a creature, draw a card. As long as you control a cleric, it has whenever creature you control dies to each opponent. Okay, so Teshar is a cleric, so that's double synergy. So it's a little aristocratic thing. That's kind of cute. We will eventually get to a point where we can sacrifice a lot of creatures all at once, probably for mana and stuff like that, and you know, to make sure that we have creatures in our graveyard to bring back with Teshar's ability. So I can see that being very good. It also has card advantage just kind of printed on it, so I do like that. So Relic Vial, I'm down for that. I will consider it card advantage. Kind of slow card advantage, like it's once per turn and stuff, but again, like that stuff I find people tend to overlook. Like when you're doing like, oh, he just drew 1 extra card and he lost a creature, and okay, maybe he pinged us for 1 and gained 1, that's not a big deal. But when you start doing that like every turn, it does start to kind of like make a difference. So I saw this when I was first loaded up the page, Vanguard the Diplomat. So it is a historic card, so it will trigger Teshar, but you can't bring it back with Teshar because it costs 4. It costs 3 and a white. It is a human cleric as well, so that could actually work with a Relic Vial. If I don't think there's going to become like a cleric tribal thing, we can see. No, cleric tribal is not a thing. Okay. Oh god, Cheerios. Balance, sacrifice, artifacts. Yeah, I mean we're gonna mainly focus on artifacts and stuff. Sacrifice. We're not gonna bounce as much. So it's a 2/4 lifelink. Whenever an opponent attacks with creatures, if 2 or more of those creatures are attacking you and or planeswalkers you control, draw a card. Whenever an opponent casts their second spell each turn, draw a card. So, okay. So, that bottom ability, I think, is the best part of this. I mean, the lifelink is still also pretty good. The deterrent to attacking you, I actually think that more feels like people are just going to target it more. You know what I mean? Like, people are gonna be like, "Oh, I don't want your draw cards for me attacking you," which my meta doesn't attack as much, so I don't know that that's gonna become super relevant. But I do know that my meta does tend to focus on, card advantage value and things like that. So I was originally going to not put it on there, thinking that I knew the attack trigger one. I forgot that this last line was in there, so I'm more inclined to put it in as card advantage for that second line. There's a chance it doesn't make the final list though, but sure, we'll do that. Angara the Diplomat. Right? Cool. I keep doing that. Selfless Savior. I looked at this. It's cute to like save, I guess, Teshar, and it comes back, and it's a way to like have something in the graveyard all the time. But aside from that, I think I'm not as sold on that one, so I'm gonna leave that one off for now. I see where the value is, but I just overall I'm not super sold on it compared to like some of the other things I know I want to include in the deck. Skyclave Apparitions, a core spirit 2/2 for 1 white. When it enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-land, non-token and permanent you don't control with convert mana cost or less. When it leaves the battlefield, the exile. Okay, so it's gone for good, and they get an illusion. Okay, they get an illusion where it's as big as a CMC, so they're gonna get upwards of a 4/4 for getting rid of something. It can be anything that isn't a token or a land. And obviously it'll be repeatable with bringing Teshar back a lot, because it's a 3 CMT. Okay, I wasn't sold on this, and now I'm looking at it harder. Because it's exile, right? So it's permanently get rid of. So we could call it removal. I'll put it in the list, and I'm sure at some point we're gonna go over Skyclave. Sorry, didn't mean to. Skyclave. Right. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I wasn't originally sold on that card. I kind of like glanced over it, and now that I understand it a little bit better. Leonin Squire would be good if we were running like a Churio style deck, which not so. And then Teshar is whenever you cast a historic spell. So things like Restoration Specialist are really good because you have to cast them. So while it's great that Teshar will bring things back to the battlefield, sometimes you do need ways to get things back into your hand so that you can cast them, so that you can trigger Teshar. So like Restoration Specialist is a really good card for this deck, I think, in my opinion. It doesn't fall into any of the categories really. You could kind of call it card advantage because it puts the card back in your hand, but I think that's too cute. Lint Hawk basically bounces an artifact in your hand. That's a maybe. That's definitely a maybe. Salvage Scout, which is essentially the same thing as Restoration Specialist, except it costs 1 less and it's only artifact. I'm down for that. Scout. I like a lot of recursion stuff in this deck. Cinnamon. Sorry, my dog is deciding she's gonna be a mutt. Yeah, whatever you did, you shouldn't have done. Treasure Hunter is just a 3-cost version of the same thing. And then Trusty Pack Beast is another one. I should just have a category that's all recursion stuff. I don't know. So the only thing that I'm a little iffy about here is, while yes, they give you a historic thing, they are not historic themselves. So I don't want to fall into the trap of having too many non-historic things and then not have enough historic things to trigger Teshar to get these things back. So I'm gonna chill on some of those decks. Dusk and like Fell the Mighty, I think, and everything like that are good. Are very good board wipes because it tends to be a lot of like smaller little creatures, and you can kind of wipe out the bigger threats at the table, so that you're just you keep your field basically. Fiend Hunter, I feel like you keep for like the combo where it enters the battlefield and you have a sack outlet, such as the one right next to it, and you sacrifice it in response to the first trigger, so that the second trigger doesn't actually bring the thing back. And then you can find ways to bring Fiend Hunter. So I think Fiend Hunter is good for removal, and then Kami of False Hope I think is good to keep you safe from getting like Alpha Striked out. I will put Kami and Fiend Hunter. Okay. Every time. Bygone Bishop is going to make it in. So the reason why is because I do plan on running KCI in this deck, and the blue tokens you get from Investigate then basically become 2 mana, as opposed to 2 mana to draw a card. They just become sacrifices to get 2 mana. So I definitely plan on running Bygone Bishop. I'm gonna file it under card advantage, and then for this, I don't know how all this like formats the Dusk and Dawn. Okay. Sweet. So we have our first Wrath, 2 removal spells. We don't have any ramp yet. We will. Like I said, KCI is going to be in the deck. I'm just not putting it in right now. And a couple of card advantage cards. Oop, I didn't want to do that, but that's okay. Alright, so top cards. So these are actually the more important ones, because like these are the ones where not only do they bring something back to your hand, but they are historic cards in and of themselves. So probably just looking at it, all of these are going in. Maybe not Assistant specifically, but these 3 are definitely going in. This is going in. This is going in. This is going in. That's a maybe. This is going in. This is going in. Removal and Clamp will go in. There will be a couple of cards that I know are pet cards, which I'm actually gonna just put Oketra's Monument. Yeah, so I'm gonna put Oketra's Monument in here as ramp, and this is the 3 mana artifact where all your white creatures, all white creature spells you cast cost 1 less. So it does reduce our commander. It does reduce some of the other cards that we're gonna have. It's not gonna reduce the artifact spells. I understand. However, the big thing here is whenever you cast a creature spell, create a 1/1 white creature token with vigilance. With things like Ashnod Altar, that's basically printing mana, right? So it doesn't matter that you don't always get a discount on your artifact creatures. The little token creatures are going to be important for you. So Ashnod Altar is going to be here. Mindstone because it's referable. I'm gonna file. So, oops. So, Filigree Familiar, even though the draw card is on its desk clause, I'm actually gonna put it under card advantage because I just think that it is like this card is very strong in this deck. So as card advantage. Filigree Familiar. Here we're gonna put in Junk Diver. What was that? Mirror Retriever. Yeah. Scrap Trawler. Scrap Trawler is basically like a baby Teshar in the deck. I really like it. Foundry Inspector, which we will call ramp because it does. Foundry Inspector, not Assembler. I accidentally put one time when I was making, was it Teshar? Teshar's not. No, it's not Teshar. I was making some kind of an artifact deck for EDA Trek for one of my articles, and I accidentally put Foundry Assembler in it, and like I had 3 comments the next day, like, why are you running Foundry Assembler? What does that do for you at all? Ornithopter might go in the deck just because it's a flying blocker. It's a 0-drop, which is also historic, so it triggers Teshar, and it's something that you can keep bringing back and sacrificing. Blah blah blah. For right now, I'm gonna leave it out, but it's probably gonna go in the deck. So, oh, radio's done. Cool. Removal is gonna be swords, 2 plowshares. What was the other card? Card advantage is gonna be Skull Clamp. Because there will be, like, even just the 1/1 tokens that we were gonna make with Catcher's Monument, we can Skull Clamp them. There you go. There's synergy already. I don't know if we're gonna see it actually in the deck, but I just think it's really good. Sky Scanner, absolutely. Why? Because it is gonna draw you a million cards. There's a lot of like little rinky-dink artifact creatures that just automatically go in this deck. Burnish Heart obviously will go. Jar's Familiar will go in. This is basically like a free spell, but I don't know about that one. Don't know about Perilous Mirror is kind of like iffy. It's kind of like a cutesy card more than anything. Pilgrim's Eye is definitely gonna go in. Shimmer Mirror is definitely gonna go in. Okay, so Burnish Heart, Jar's Familiar. Burnish Heart, Jar's Familiar are ramp spells. That's one thing I really love is that this is a this is a mono white deck, but it doesn't feel like a mono white deck when you're playing it because there's just so much card advantage. Like you wind up being one of the people with like the most resources, and we're like, wait, how is Pilgrim's Eye, Shimmer Mirror? Pilgrim's Eye is gonna be ramp. I was like, what are we doing? And Shimmer Mirror is not necessarily like it's more of a like kind of generic support card. It just makes the deck run better because then you get to just do stuff. Even Mind Center is a maybe, just good to kind of like shut down other people from getting too much value. Like I said, so Knight of the White Orchard is not going to go in this deck, and the reason for that's going to be is that, again, I find that you don't have the least amount of resources as often as you think. So I don't plan on putting this in. I might put in Thraven Inspector, but not right. Selfless Spirit's definitely going to go in. Wall of Omens is really good. Why would you want this in this deck? So, Stonecoil Serpent is an X cost for a 0/0. Reach, trample, protection from multicolored. When it enters the battlefield with X+1/+1 counters on it. I guess for all of the ways to return artifacts to your hand, that's kind of like the big thing. So, maybe, I don't know about it though. I really don't know. I am going to do Wall of Omens for card advantage. Again, this is one of those things where you're gonna be bringing this. I like the low curve. Selfless Spirit. You're gonna bring that back so often and get so much card advantage off it. It's gonna be really good. Selfless Spirit will protect you from board wipes. Most board wipes. I was gonna exile once. Exile all cards from target. Remorseful Cleric I think is just a really good card to have. It's one of those. It's almost removal for like graveyard decks. It's basically just there to. That's all right. Yeah. I'll put it in there. It might actually eventually come out just because if I need that spot for something else. So I may not put Solemn in the deck. It's an artifact, so it's a historic card. It's an artifact that we can bring back to our hand, but we can't bring it back with Teshar. So I'm always kind of like, I don't know. Should I play this? Daxos is probably gonna go in the deck. Just because we are planning on having a lot of creatures enter the battlefield and die, and one of the win cons in this deck when I make it is Flux Reservoir. So you play a bunch of things, especially if you can play things infinitely, even if they don't win you the game themselves. When you have a Flux Reservoir, you just start gaining copious amounts of life, and then you just people out of it. Sun Titan's good. Sun Titan will be good, because again, baby Teshar effect. You have to have backups that way the deck can still kind of run when you maybe don't have your command out. Alright. Yeah, Daxos we can put Daxos in for now. But Daxos doesn't fit into a category, and that's kind of why I'm, not that I'm against it, but I am, like, kind of leery of putting too many things in now that aren't in the categories that we talked about, so. Generous Gift, very good for removal. I don't know about putting tutors into a deck like this. I find again that I just have so much, usually I have so much recursion that I do not want to do stuff like that. Like I don't need to do stuff like that. It's nice, and like I said, we're gonna probably run what is it, Inventor's Fair for land, so that will be a way to bring stuff back. And then we have like Sun Titan and everything, so Sun Titan can get back lands and stuff, so there's a chance that we can tutor over and over again just off of like that one card. Path to Exile can go in, it's just removal. Path to Exile. Just saw Return to Dust, and I've been leaning more toward Crush Contraband over Return to Dust because I don't have to worry about the only getting one target. We'll put Crush in over this for now. Teferi's Protection will probably be, yeah, choose one or both. Here, like, you have to have one of each, so it's kind of I don't really know. Each player puts to play all artifact or creature or or put into his or her graveyard. Ooh, gosh, excuse me. So there's a couple. I'm looking at a couple of cards right now. I'm looking at Face Reward. Teferi's Protection I should just put in because it's gonna go with it. If you have a deck with white knit and you are not running Teferi's Protection, I don't understand how you play the form. No, I'm just kidding. It is a really good card. You should play it if you have the option to. And because I already own one online, there's no reason not to. So, what I was saying was, I'm looking at Second Sunrise, and Face Reward, and maybe even Brought Back. I like Brought Back because it's cheaper. It's 2 mana. It's a lot. Second Sunrise is everybody, and then obviously the more expensive casting one, 4 mana. Sorry, you guys can't see. Face Reward is a 3 and white instant return to the battlefield all permanent cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn. So it brings back all your stuff and just your stuff. So, and it costs the most. Second Sunrise, 1 white, and Brought Back is just white, which we shouldn't have an issue with the double mana symbols because it's a mono white deck. But I'm trying to think of which one I want. Because I already have Teferi's Protection, I already have Ami, I already have Selfless Spirit. So, for as much as I like going, like, protecting my board, I don't want to go too crazy with 2 target permanent cards in your graveyard that were put there from the battlefield this turn, return them to the battlefield tap. So if I bring back, like, ACI or Ashnod's Altar, the tap doesn't matter. Brings back everything, though. What? Holding up 4 mana as opposed to holding up 2 mana? 3 mana, but everybody gets stuff back. So I have to worry about people who have like their own sacrifice decks. I'm gonna run Brought Back. I like Brought Back. I don't know why. I've been kind of like trying to find decks to put Brought Back in. All right, so put on that one. I like Winds of Abandon. It's basically White's version of a Cyclonic Rift. I like Fumigate for a board wipe because, again, one of the ways of winning is Flux Reservoir. I like Austere Command for the maneuverability to maybe get rid of big creatures and leave your stuff, get rid of enchantments while leaving your artifacts. So let's do Austere Command. Let's do Wind of Abandon. Ooh. What is that? Interesting. Like an art card. Why would you put that like in your database? That's weird. Fine, but it's weird. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3 wraths. So that's pretty good. Oh, and Fumigate. So we have 4 wraths, and they are kind of like they kind of do also what we want them to do, or like they kind of benefit us. I actually feel like Cleansing Nova tends to not be as good in this deck, so it doesn't surprise me to see this negative synergy, even though people are putting it in some of their decks. I think too often you're basically choosing destroy all your creatures, artifacts, and enchantments, or, you know, destroy all your artifacts and creatures kind of thing. So, alright, so here we go. Parkland, which I'll put under ramp. Ironworks. Super good card. So, I'm going to do Ichor Wellspring. I'm going to come back to Blasting Station in a second. I'm going to do Ichor Wellspring for card advantage. Laws of Gix is going to go in. This is just so that you have another way to sacrifice non-creature artifacts. It'll go up here. I think it is pretty important to have Laws of Gix. Yeah. Hello. Okay. I think it's really important to have those kind of sacrifice outlets, especially free ones. This one isn't. This one is not free, but like what were we saying before? So KCI, Ashnod's Altar, and I want to say there's another one that we talked about, but maybe I'm crazy. Soul Guide Lantern. Exile target card from a graveyard. Exile each opponent's graveyard, and yeah, I mean it's actually might be better than the other. Oh, I accidentally put it back in here. I don't know how I did that, but I did. What was that cleric that we put in here before? Remorseful Cleric. Exile all cards from target players. I think we can get rid of this and put in the Soul Guide Lantern. Because I think this being an artifact and cheaper, I think it's actually a lot better. It's gonna lower the curve like very, very slightly. Desecrated Tomb, I love Desecrated Tomb. The bats can become mana for Ashnod's Altar. They're flying blockers, they're flying attackers. Ashnod's Altar, or Desecrated Tomb, absolutely. Love this card. Nope. In Lightning Greaves, Swiftfoot Boots, I think Lightning Greaves are fine. This is usually the choice between, do I need to be able to target my commander with stuff? Do I need to be able to equip stuff to him and stuff like that? If you don't need to do that, Lightning Greaves, fine. If you do need to do that, Swiftfoot Boots is better. So because we don't, there's not a lot of equipments in the deck. There's not a lot of like spells, blah 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 in the deck. Most of the ways that we have to protect our commander are like for the entirety of the field. So I think Lightning Greaves is fine. How many times has lightning been put into a printed on a magic card? That many times. So I put Altar of the Brood in my deck originally. I don't mind it, but I think people sometimes get upset about it because it gets annoying. Oh, did I not put its Force Reservoir? Am I dumb? You guys wouldn't answer that, would you? Y'all wouldn't answer that, would you? Hurt my feelings. Alright, so that's one of our win cons. Wayfarer's Bauble is good. Hard, I see why like people put it, but Mystic Forge is pretty good. That colorless online card, yeah. Yeah, it's probably good. I don't know if I'm gonna run it though. 2 mana to draw a card, gain a life. Michael Synth Wellspring is going to go in for ramp. So Michael Synth and Wayfarer's Bauble. Wait. Hey, there's a Catcher's Monument. Minus 17, you're out your mind. I'm telling you it's good. I'm telling you it's good. Endless Atlas, I am actually not that crazy about. No, don't need something like that. Divining Top, I don't like playing with if I can help it. So pulling dice and Spawning Pit. I feel like Spawning Pit's really good. It's a free sacrifice outlet that can actually give you creatures back, so I feel like we do want that one. Genesis Chamber, I'm not super sold on. Pulling dice is like slow card advantage, and I just don't really see the need to it. Just thinking, sorry. Ways to poop out tokens. The Pearl Medallion I don't think is all that great for this deck. Sword of the Animus is maybe. We do have a flying commander, so that's cool. Smuggler's Copters can be good because you get to lose the card, so you get to draw a card, then discard the card. So you get to put things into the graveyard that you could potentially bring out with, hey Paul, that you could then bring out possibly with your commander. So I think Smuggler's Copter, card advantage, Sword of the Animist, ramp. I think that's good. And Golem Foundry just in. Card advantage, what did I just say? Smugglers. ramp, I said, what are the animals? Oh. So we're coming up close. We only have 12 more spots left right now. Again, the list doesn't have to be finalized. So, Smothering Tide for ramp is just really good. This could be a potential win con if we can hit people with our commander. Land tax, I don't think we super need. Soul Ring, like I was saying before, I don't think I'm gonna actually run Soul Ring. Commander's Sphere I'll probably actually put in because it's ramp, but it's also potentially recurable card advantage. Yeah. Hedron Archive will probably go in this deck. I know Tomer, my buddy Tomer, is not a fan of Hedron Archive, but we're gonna put it in because this is a thing where this is a situation I think Tomer actually would like Hedron Archive. It's one of the decks where it does have a very good place because you can, well, it's a 4 cost. You trigger Teshar. Well, it's not a creature, so you don't accordingly. We'll see. We'll see. So I like Golden Egg, card advantage. I like Commander Sphere, card advantage, and maybe Hedron Archive. I don't know about that. So card advantage, Golden Egg, and we'll call it ramp Commander Sphere, even though it's not there for that. I'm not gonna put Arcane Signet in the deck because again I think we just don't need it. Well, so if we're gonna put, actually, yeah, I think we're gonna put Felwar Stone and Arcane Signet. I'm sorry, I'm gonna and also Thought Vessel. So they're cheap and they like their return is just good. The different colors. So yeah, we are gonna put all three. I don't even advocate for Soul Ring in every deck, but in a Historic Matters deck, I absolutely would. So, I said this when I first started, but the reason for no Soul Ring is because of my play group when we were doing the Commander Online YouTube series. We actually soft banned or house banned Soul Ring, and we got to the point where I'm perfectly comfortable not running it and feeling fine. So it's more of a meta call than necessarily a oh, this is a Teshar deck, so I don't need it. It has nothing to do with that. It's just I probably won't run most of my decks. Probably won't run Soul Ring unless the CMC is really high, and I feel like that is possibly gonna help sometimes. And then it's one card out of 100 or 9. Let's do Arcane Signet, Felwar Stone, and Thought Vessel. Thought Vessel. Actually, no, Thought Vessel. No maximum hand size is actually not as good in this deck. I don't know what that was. So look, we have so much RAM, we may actually need to take some out. The stream froze. Oh, that might have been me. What in the what? I'm not on the Wi-Fi. I have no idea why my internet suddenly tanked. Gotta love files. I had to think about what I had. No. Stop it. Stop it. Alright. Yeah, see, there's not even really... What creature type would we even, do you just pick Cleric so that people can't counter your commander? I'm not a big fan of the off-color fetches. We're not going to do that. Really land. Strip mine. Oh, I'm a strip mine. Y'all don't know this. Oh, because it's an artifact. But you're not casting it. But Teshar doesn't care. Right? It's whenever you cast. I know you guys can see it on the screen, but I can't. Oh, God. Idiot, don't do that to me. Whenever you cast this historic spell. Yeah, so kind of yeah. Alright, how many spots do we have? We have 8 spots left. Did I mess up anywhere with the numbers? Because we did that with rollback. Which okay. Okay. So let's think about this. Let's actually hit the analyze button because I want to look at something a little bit deep. So creatures. I have. Oh, sorry. Hold on. Where is the? There we go. Creatures. We have 22 creatures. That's not actually a lot, and I know some of them were ones like Mangara. You can't bring back with Teshar. Sun Titan. You can't bring back with Teshar. So actually look for a second. Artifact creature. We can bring all of these back. Bring you back. Teshar you can't bring back. So artifact creature. Yeah, you can bring these back. Okay. You can bring back me. Ramp. Bring back. Oh no, you can't bring this one back. Right, it's 4-drop. Hello. Oh, it's right there. Yeah, you can't bring it back. It's 4-drop. 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay. So we can actually bring back a decent amount. We can't bring back Jorah's Familiar, Sun Titan, Mangara. Obviously, we're not. Hopefully. That is it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, that's not so bad. So we can bring back 19 things as of right now. You can recur a creature that recurs a monster. Yeah, that's true. A lot of the ones that we were putting up here up top were so we went a little bit weaker on the wait, what? Yes, I'm aware of how to work with site. Thank you. Sorry, I saw a message at the end. Oh, okay, because I don't have the 100 cards. Okay. That like tripped me out for a second. We went a little bit weaker on the non-artifact cards that bring things back, right? Or like bounce things. So we could toss a bunch of these in there. And this show me how many artifacts I have, even if they're creatures. I don't think it can. Yeah, 22 artifacts, that's gotta only be like artifacts. So 22 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 32 artifacts. And a couple of historic spells between Daxos and Mangara. I have no sagas whatsoever. I have no enchantments whatsoever, actually. I have not put... Oh, Smothering Tithe, sorry. Smothering Tithe. Smothering Abomination, good card. Yeah, we still have 7 slots. So does Soul Color. I think I know what that does. Whenever it attacks, return to players or attackers. So yeah, baby, and it's essentially return of 3 costs, and it's recurable. I like that. Hey, it's a cleric. Cavern of Souls is that much stronger now. Color, not So 6 more cards before we need to worry about what kind of lands we're gonna have. Filigree is definitely in the deck. Filigree is, I honestly believe Filigree is probably the MVP of this deck. If anybody ever exiles my Filigree, first of all, they should never be able to exile my Filigree because I should almost always have a way to respond to that. Minus it's a K grip it and then exile my graveyard. But yeah, like I think that card, like if you get rid of that card, I'm like, I don't want to play this game anymore. you have ruined me, and I don't like it. I'm still against doing too many tutors because again, I feel like the deck should just be able to do enough on its own. Secret Cleric Tribal. Oh god. It doesn't have black in it. We need Prismatic Piper and Teshar to have partner, and we can put in Oran into the deck just to do Secret Cleric Tribal. God, that sounds hilarious. A construct card. I do not know how many constructs are in the deck. Oh, I could potentially put in Walking Ballista and Heliod because we already have Daxos, right? Here you go. I saw him. Whenever you gain a life, put a 1/1. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield or dies, gain 1 life. And then this. Oh. What's the friggin' combo? It's, oh, you give, that's right, you pay to give Ballista lifelink. It pings somebody by removing a counter. You gain a life from the ping because that is lifelink, and then it puts the counter back on. I could put that as a way to end the game. I do already have kind of a cheesy win with Aether Flux Reservoir. Outside of that, there aren't a lot of ways to really win with the deck, minus just kind of becoming like control-y and like overrunning people with tokens. So the Trusty Pack Beast. So yeah, we originally didn't put a lot of these in, and we're down to like only a few cards left. So I might put some of these in. We put in some of them that were bringing cards back from the graveyard to our hand. Why is my internet stupid? And we didn't want to go too hard on these because they're not historic spells, so I wanted to make sure I had the historic spells that would trigger these things. So yeah, I mean, I'm not against it now. Now we've gotten to the point where I do feel like we have a few spots left. I just didn't want to take up all the spots with all these non-historic cards. Like, I didn't want it to have like, here's all these targets for Teshar. How do we trigger Teshar? Oh crap, we didn't put in enough historic stuff. So that was kind of like where I was at the beginning. Now we just said we have like 32, 35, I want to say, because I just named off 2 legendary cards. Oh no, Sword of the Animus was already historic because it was an artifact. So we have like 35 ways to trigger Teshar and 19 targets for Teshar. So now it's becoming fine to do stuff like that. So walking, I think I am going to do the Walking Ballista thing. I have this thing. Oh, there you are. I have this mentality where I tend to put a combo into each deck that I'm not sure has a dedicated way of winning. So what I mean was, or what I mean by that is, like, if it's not a deck where I'm meant to make a lot of creatures and play Triumph of the Hordes and kill people with Infect, right? Like that's a very clear, concise way of winning. If it's not meant to like burn people out, that's a clear, concise way of winning, etc., etc., etc. So this is kind of like, there's lots of little incremental value, but like, what are you doing to win? Are you going to make a bunch of tokens and attack? It's possible, but it's not necessarily the most plausible thing. Because again, like, you don't have that Triumph of the Horde, you don't have that Overrun, you don't have stuff like that to kind of get you over the edge. So when I have a deck like that, I tend to like default to, where's my one combo that will just, here it is, I've won the game. And there aren't any tutors, right? Like we might put Inventor's Fair. I don't have a tutor for Heliod at all, because I didn't put any of the ones that are like artifact or enchantment. So really, it's probably the most fair way to win in this deck, minus like getting like having Inventor's Fair, going to get Eighth of Flux Reservoir when I've got a way to loop cards enough to where I can gain enough life to where I can just shoot people out. Because that does sometimes happen. If I were to put like Ornithopter in here, I think it's even more possible to get it or cast it, sacrifice it, bring it back, sacrifice it for mana, and bring it back, and blah blah blah. Like keep doing loops and stuff. So that way is actually probably even easier to pull off because most of the pieces are artifacts. So if I somehow had a way to get back Inventor's Fair, I'd have a repeatable tutor for my combo pieces and then win. So I feel better with winning with Ballista and Heliod than I do with like the Teshar combo. It's kind of a weird thing to think, but it is true. Do you have Knight of the White Orchid in there, ramp and recurability? So I don't, because I played Teshar before, and I've, aside from like very early game where like the green decks are maybe cultivating and Kadama's reaching before I can like pop a Burnish Shard or something like that, I have never late game been able to use a white or Knight of the White Orchid. Never happened. Now it's not to say that it can't happen. I've never been able to do it. What is this one little gray thing? Oh, the commander. So with that in mind, I'm against Knight of the White Orchid in this deck, personally. If you have Astronaut's Altar, 2 Chariot Artifact creatures, and Teshar, you have easy infinite. Essentially, yeah, and then you just have to have something to do with the mana. Which, I want to say Walking Ballista is... Ah. Well, you know. Oh, I guess I could do that. Did I spell it wrong? I did. I didn't put the other L in it. Yeah, so if you have infinite mana, you're winning also probably with Walking Ballista as well, right? So Walking Ballista in the deck isn't unheard of. The fact that I'm just kind of having a backup in case my commander's not in there. So yeah, I guess I'm reinforcing the combo win. That actually makes me feel even better. You just keep taking your turn until they can see. That's blue. That's not white. Come on. You're wrong colors. Wrong colors. Maybe that's next week. All right. How many? We have 4 more spells. So I am down to put in a couple of these. I want to put in enters the battlefield, comes into play. No play. I'm down to put in Trusty Pack Beast, and I want to say Treasure Hunter or White Mane Lion. Oh, Trusty Pack Beast. Trusty Pack Beast. And White Mane? Yeah, White Mane Lion. So cute little like bounce combo. Not combo. Cute little bounce synergy, I should say. But I'm down for that. I'm down for that. Where is he? Where is he? I saw him, right? Mane Lion. Where are you? We've got words. No, sorry. How did I not see you? Anyway, now that I've realized I am blind, yeah. So just removes the need to kill the artifact source. Yeah, pretty much. Good card. So what else? We're not weak in card advantage. We're kind of average at 10. Keeping in mind that like bringing something back to your hand is a form of pseudo card advantage. So like Trusty Pack Beast is essentially a 0.5 for card advantage, and I want to say there was at least 2 others. So there was Mirror Retriever, Junk Diver, Rusty Pack Beast, and I want to say there was at least one of the other non-artifact ones. So that's essentially 2 more cards because they're all 0.5 in my brain for card advantage. So we are kind of at 12. That's fine. Ramp we are very strong on, and like again, some of these are combo-tastic. Removal and Wrath, we had 4 Wraths, I want to say. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And like this one I really like because it's exile and that just messes up so many people. So 4 Wraths, I think it's fine. We have a decent amount of removal, so we have 6 pieces of removal. Some of it is recurable. Fiend Hunter and Cyclave Apparition are the 2 that I'm thinking of that are recurable. And then a lot of these are just super good, kind of like cutesy pieces. Desecrated Tomb, Oketcher's Monument are just ways of kind of like poop out tokens consistently so that you can turn the tokens into mana with Ashnod's Altar, or just blockers, or just chip damage, you know. Maybe split the difference between bounce creatures and recursion ones. That would require me going back and changing the list, which I should be willing to do. However, comma space, pause for effect. I don't want to do. I don't know. Can we think of what are we missing for a card advantage? That's what I want. Hey, you got bugs? You got bugs? Kitchen? Don't lick your nose at me. Oh, you're sure. A dog. I don't know why I did that. Just did a dog ear scratching. That was good. Wasn't good. I might put in Ravager because of the sacrifice on artifact. Just having a ways to sacrifice it, that's super important to the deck. Now that I've said that, I'm really looking at in the center of the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter. When it dies, you may put its +1/+1. I think that's actually really good. Is that cinnamon? Yes, cinnamon. Yeah. Come here, baby. Can I pick you up? You let me pick you up. Oh, sorry. You're my baby. Come on. Hi. Why am I? What, I'm petting you. Good. You're a good girl. Hmm? Are you a good girl? I refuse to acknowledge you until you put me down, Dad. Are you good? Hi. You always want to cuddle me when I sit in the armchair. Oh god. Ash, whoa, she fell. She's okay. Sarah says hi. Woof woof. Would you like a treat? Alright, go lay down. Go lay down, you fuzzy. Hey, no, don't bite my hand. You might. You might. Yes, I've given you the attention. Are you good? You gonna lay down? No, you're gonna look at me. Okay, good dog. Good dog. Ooh. Sacrifices to give a creature. This might. We're not gonna like super win with commander damage. Not in one shot anyway. So unless like we chip in and then we do like oh yeah, that's right. Oh, that's what I was saying before. Cinnamon. Kitchen. Now that I've said Arcbound Ravager and I've looked at it and sacrificed an Arc, do. Gotta get the dogs. Now that I've stopped petting her, she's going to probably jump up into my face. So, you can't I know you're a puppy. You can't puppy eyes me. Like, it doesn't work that way. Alright, fine. Slowly trots away. Yeah, you're good. That's not fair. I can't not call you good. You can't keep coming over here. You know that? You know that? Oh, you know what? The Teshar combo. I was going to talk about this earlier. Blasting Station. Okay. Sacrifice a creature. Does 1 damage. There is... Grinding Station. Whenever an artifact comes. There's a combo, I think, between these two. And another card. Target player... Oh, isn't that this? There's a combo where Blasting Station gets untapped. Return target non-creature artifact. Yeah. So Salvaging Station and Blasting Station, I think, combo. So return a non-creature artifact card with a converted mana cost 1 or less from your graveyard to play. Whenever a creature is put into the graveyard from play, untap Salvaging Station. Whenever a creature comes into play. So it has to do with... Oh god, what is it? Not bad. Is it Flaying Husk? So you have to... So I think the combo is Blasting Station. Hold on. I'm gonna use Flare Husk or Blasting Station or Salvaging Station. Okay, so Blasting Station sacrifices the Germ token to tap to deal 1 damage. When a creature comes into play, it untaps. When a creature is put into a graveyard, you may untap Salvaging Station. So, no, you have to have a way to bring the living weapon back. There's some combo here. Yeah, I forget what the combo is. I've seen people do it before. It's very like long and drawn out. I know that. There might even just be like you have to have Teshar and a way to sacrifice an artifact creature kind of thing. I don't know. There's a combo here, but Blasting Station is the thing. Whenever a creature comes into play, how relevant is that going to be? I mean, yeah, creatures are going to come into play a lot. Like, if Ornithopter's in the deck, that's basically infinite ways to untap it, as long as you can keep bringing Ornithopter back. You can keep bringing Ornithopter back as long as you can keep recurring, like, Junk Diver or Mirror Retriever. Which will put it back in hand, which you'll then cast to get the Junk Diver or the Mirror Retriever, which you can then sacrifice. Yeah, that's probably it. Blasting Station, Ornithopter, Teshar, like Jorah's Familiar to reduce the cost down to 2, and then like Ashnod's Altar or KCI, one or the other. Because that way you get 2 mana. That's probably it. I think that combo happens. Right? Damn it. Teshar's out. Ornithopter and Mirror Retriever are on the battlefield. You have KCI out, and you have Blasting Station. Or one of them's in hand, whatever. You can sacrifice the Ornithopter to deal the 1 damage. You can then play the Junk Diver, which will untap it. You can sacrifice the Junk Diver, put it into the graveyard with 2 mana, Teshar. The Jorah's Familiar out, so it only costs 2 technically. You then play the Ornithopter which will untap the Blasting Station. Yeah, I think that works. So it's like 5 card combos. Yeah. So, and honestly, you don't even need the Ornithopter. I think Ornithopter just actually makes you net mana. Because if you sacrifice both things, and you only need the 2 mana from one of the sacrifices to bring it back into the field. Yeah, so you're gonna net 2 mana that way. So if you have Jorah's Familiar, Junk Diver, and Mirror Retriever, you can basically loop them back and forth and bring them constantly back to hand. Well, alright, Blasting Station's going in the deck, I think. Damn it! Combo deck. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, and that would be the last card. Alright. I don't see any 2s, I don't see any 2s, I don't see any 2s. Good. Okay. Death by Million. Yeah, this deck is one of those things, like, you really do have to think about it. Alright, we need to go find the... Alright, so utility lands. So I can pop this number down to 20 for now. Barrier Drone. So much. Inventor's Fair. Investor's Fair. Completely different. Did I put Smothering Tithe in this damn deck? Yes. Okay, cool. It's like my one enchantment in the whole deck. Sacrifice an artifact, you gain a life. Me. I like the cycle lands for mono white decks. I think that they can become very important. Ameria is going to be good. Oh, secluded. Fire Reach is good. Strip Mine and Ghost. I almost always have at least those two. I think it's just that important to be able to do stuff. Investor's Fair is the new nickname for Smothering Tithe. Yes. Everyone else, let's play Magic. Teshar players, let's do... Alright, it's not quite calculus. Like, I was with you right up until you said calculus. Temple of the False God. Hey, Benny! Benny! Drifting Meadow, Desert of the True, because again, I just like... So I think, I'm thinking about this now, and I think this is a paradox where, right, so I have a low curve deck. I can run most of the cards. Probably, like, I could probably run 36 lands and be happy, right? So I have this habit of putting in cycling lands, especially from mono white decks, so that if I flood with lands, I can try to draw into other things. But I could also simply take them out for other things, and that probably wouldn't happen as much. However, I am, of course, a Magic player, so I am always right, and therefore, I'm going to continue to do it the way that I'm doing it. I think that one, who was out for? That was for, Dana Roach. Oh, Scavenger Ground, yeah. Scavenger. So this is essentially 4 mana, create something that gives you 2 mana. Yeah. That's rough. Target card from a graveyard on the bottom of your library. Yeah, Mirrored Landscape's gonna go in. That's just down here with the lands. Mirrored Landscape. I still want to know, like, what is the point to Cavern of Souls? Is it literally just that people want to be able to cast a commander? Because I guess because it's a combo commander, right? I guess that's it. So why do these show up? On the battlefield, tap and shuffle. If you so I know this one because it can untap the land. Oh, and just put it on the battlefield. Okay, so they're better than Evolving Wild. Okay, that's fine. Oh. It's put into a graveyard from the battlefield. You may search your library for planes. Using your opening hand and you're not playing first, you may begin the game with a gemstone. God. What is this? Is Teshar like a CEDH freaking deck? Is that what this says? Yeah, Teshar recurs stuff that recurs lands. Yeah, it's possible. I see a thing that I'm missing that I think I super like. The emergent zone is a maybe, in case somebody gets rid of the Shimmer Mirror. If I was that hard on it, I'd put Vidalcan Orrery in the deck, but you know. Do I just want to put in Phyrexian Scourge just for the heck of it? I don't like sacrifice outlets that aren't not recurable, repeatable. What's kind of I don't know. If this said draw a card, I would definitely put it in there though. The difference between gain a life and draw a card. How many? 95, so I could just pump up to 25 planes. Does this little thingy here tell me? Yeah, I know it tells me like the average amount of lands. Yeah, 33, which is not accurate. I wish you told me how many basic lands. That'd be cool. That'd be pretty neat. Let me just pump you up 5. I'm going to pump you up. God, what is that from? I don't remember. Alright, we're gonna analyze real quick. Obviously, curve's low. Love to see it. They're all in main. Oh, main is in this category. Okay. Creatures 28, lands 38. So we have more lands than anything? Every time I go below like 37 lands, it bites me in the butt. I have a I have a Wonder Woman deck, and I did 36 for that one, and I did 36 for that one, and it never seems to go very well for me. It's just, the smoothness is just not there. My one enchantment, Smothering Tide. We got an enchantment. We made it in there. I gotta add one Planeswalker. Whoa, definitely not that. Whoops. Yep. Nobody saw anything. What was the Planeswalker? Was it Ugin the Ineffable? The Ineffable. Ugin the Ineffable. Ah, bless you. Yeah, it's just a good ramp card. Other spells cost you less. Destroy target permanent. One or more. Yeah, why not? Ugin. We'll put it under. You know, kind of. Oh, that comment really mattered. Oh yeah, that's plus 2 exiles. Big things. Yeah. I'm not against it, but I'm not for it either. If that makes sense. Like it doesn't call to me. Exile target permanent and opponent controls with convert mana cost 3 or more. Non-creature spells your opponent's cast cost 2 more to cast until your next turn. Return target creature or planeswalker from the graveyard to the battlefield with a +1/+1 cast 4 low. Elspeth conquers death. Pretty cool. I've actually debated doing that in Teshar decks, putting it in Fall of the Thran. It's dirty-ish, but it's also hilarious. All spells cost 1 generic mana less. I could put in Cloud Key. Help with a reduction even more. I feel like I don't have enough card advantage. Seeing that 10, I'm used to. I swear that I'm used to more. I'm trying to think of what else I would put in. I have Skull Clamp. I know that. Sorry, I just got really quiet because because now like I'm like trying to remember the deck that I played before. So that was. I get 4 lands back. They're fine. I could be a shill and just put in that robot because I didn't put it in before. Put in the old sad robot. Codian has to be like part of the combo, right? Can't not be. Oh, I could put in the Ornithopter like I was talking about before. I lower that curve even more. I like that low curve. I get low. Boop. Yes. Yeah. And it's another creature, and it's another historic spell. So, kind of feels what we were worrying about a little bit before with the do we have enough? Yeah. Yeah. Show colorless mana. Most of it. Okay. Alright, let's do Tessan. Let's see what we get. Would I keep this hand? I would not. Because I can only cast one thing in this hand. I keep this hand. If I was greedy, I would keep it because I have the Smuggler's Copter. And I'd be wrong. So very wrong. Alright. See though? I took out 2 lands and it's not working for me. Like 36 lands does not work for me. I wouldn't want to keep this. I can play a creature. Oh, okay. I got a cycle. Scavenger Ground, it's a like Magic Online version. Yeah, I wouldn't keep this. I don't know, like there's this to draw a card. There's this to have something on the field. It could potentially work, right? Like I could then put this onto the Ravager and hopefully, like, and that's if nobody removes stupid Ravager. Yeah, and then I could start swinging and blah blah blah. That was an iffy hand, but I'm never getting more than 2. Like that's something I'm noticing. Wouldn't keep that. 1, 2. Can't keep that. 2. Okay, that's 3. What are you? Okay. Yeah, I would probably keep this hand because I could put the Scout and the Kami out early. Hopefully draw another land to have Mangara come out. Okay. Yeah, first 2 cards I'm not upset with. And then that's a way to draw more cards. And then I get a land. Okay, yeah. I would probably keep that. That's what I'm saying though. Like, yeah, would not keep this at all. I feel like 36 lands for me is cursed. This is too many. There's too many with nothing to do. This is a good hand. It took me, like, I had to look at everything. This is a really good hand, actually. This actually has the potential to be, like, kind of stupid hand, actually. Like, stupid good. What was the last card that I put in that? Ornithopter? I think I'm gonna take that. And put in 1 more planes. Which shouldn't matter, but it's gonna make me feel better. Alright. Crap. What is happening? Would I keep this? Yes. Like, if I had to. Play this, then I could play that to get a counter on that. I'd be able to play Teshar then. I could sacrifice this to play this to get that. Oh no, because it's creature only. Sacrifice this. Sacrifice that. Put this back in my hand. So there's a little bit of a loop here. I can sacrifice this. And brought back it. Yeah. I guess. It's a really, like, kind of wonky beginning, but it's not the worst thing. This is a keep. Yeah, this is a pretty good keep. 3 mana, things to cast, and a board wipe. There it is. Filigree from that one is keeper, and it has your 2 to land. Yeah, that's right. That was true. Combo piece, 3 lands, 4 lands. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize this art. Like, trips me out still. Yeah. Yeah, I would probably keep this, because then get the Burnished Shard out, pop it. By the time we get Teshar out and we're trying to bring, like, Burnished Shard back, it's gonna start giving us tokens. This is actually a really nice starting hand. It just doesn't have card advantage. That's the only thing. Woo! Yeah. Yeah, I keep that. God, if I just have a way to get rid of this. So that like this has value. That's actually a really nice hand. I like this one a lot. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. I like this one. Oh, never mind. I love this one. Turn 1. Turn 2. And then... Oh. That 2 draws right there. Like, I would have kept this anyway. And, like, prayed to the magic gods that I get the 1 more land to just, you know, like, play Filigree Familiar and Shimmermere. But, oh, baby. That's a start. That's a start. Look at, oh. That's good. Absolutely not. No? So this one's hard because you do have ways to filter your hand. Like, turn 1, you get rid of this. Or another, so you draw that on your turn, and then you cycle into that. I think this actually is a keeper because of these 2 lands. Turn 2, you could put this, like another basic down and put down the greaves, and then turn 3, if you don't, you could play your 3rd land and put down the commander's here so that you can have Teshar come out with greaves out. It's a little clunky in the way it curves, but I think this is actually a keeping hand. 1, 2, 3. Actually. There. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah. I want to see what people think of that in terms of hands. I think it's deceivably a good hand. I don't want to show people like the 2 cards that we would have gotten because, you know, you don't know that when you're keeping it. Is this a keep? You have 2 2-drops that work actually kind of well together if you get something else out. Wait, is this a keep? Oh god. Oh god. I think it would, like, I questioned it, but I think I would have kept it, and then I think I would have been punished. I think that's a greedy keep. Oh, never punished. Never punished. I would have kept that, like, and been leery of it, and that first card would have been like, never mind, I did the right thing. Oh, gosh. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with it. So, let's go back. Let's look at how much the deck costs. 102 ticks. Wow, why is it so much? Oh, okay. Astronaut's Altar. There's a couple of like hybrid cards. Skyclave Evaporation is. Oh, okay. Standardly goes up. Prismatic Vista is just expensive because it is. So, really, if you were to cut out these 2 cards, you would cut out a third of the deck practically. And then if you cut out this card and this card too, you cut out like 50%. So 4 cuts and you can basically drop this down to 50 ticks, which isn't bad. Paper-wise, it's pretty affordable. I want to say most of my decks tend to average between 350 to 400 nowadays, I think. So this is actually, I think, budget-ish. And like I said in the beginning of the stream, I think Jeremy said his was it didn't break 200 when he upgraded it from a $50 one. So I want to say like that's not bad. And some of these are like kind of like, you know, these two right here are a huge chunk. This is $50. So essentially one Tix is $1. So if you buy a Tix, you're spending $1. That's pretty much what it is. So this is essentially a $102 deck right now. But like I said, you cut 4 cards out of this, and you drop it down by half. The other advantage to playing on Magic Online is that if you buy any one of these cards, like I don't need copies, like ever, especially for Commander players is really good. So for Standard players, you get your 4 ofs and you're done. For Commander players, you get 1 of a card and you play it in however many decks it can fit into. That kind of like, yes, this deck would cost $102 from scrap, but because I have played this deck before, I probably have most of these cards. Like I think I know I have Strip Mine, right? So that's $3 right off. I know I have I think Fabled Passage or Vista, I'm not sure which, but if it's, you know, that's another $3 off. So I'm just taking chunks out of this. I don't have this one yet because it's brand new. Astronaut's Altar I have, that's $12 I'm just taking off of my card because I already own it and I don't have to buy anything. Yeah, it's massively different. Like I'm not gonna pay 102 for, I'm honestly I'm probably only gonna pay maybe $30, and 20 of it is, or 15 of it is this thing, this Apparition card, which is brand new. So 30 at most, and that's if I don't already own the Vista. And if I do own the Vista, I'll just swap like Evolving Wilds in there, and it, that's $20 I don't have to spend. It goes down to 80, so pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it. Mangara is also new, so I do have to pay that. There's not a lot of like super new stuff here, right? Yeah. Oh, Lightning Increase. The Apparition, the new Mangara. I have a Signet already, which, yeah, that's $7 off. Yeah, so a lot of this is not really like that big of a deal. Oh, who knows? There might actually be cheaper versions of these. These are expeditions, so that might be a thing too. I might not even have to pay this much for this card. Yeah, Plains. I was like, what land did they print in Zendikar that I ran? I don't remember that. It's the Plains reprint. Funny that we have to reprint lands every set. Jeez, why can't we learn to play Magic without this crutch of lands? Although I guess Modern has already evolved a way to do that with Manaless Dredge. But yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I'm gonna look into how much I do have to pay for the deck. I'm not gonna do that on stream. If I get the deck, I might goldfish it and play it like a solitaire game a couple times, and then who knows, maybe I will stick around some people in the Predator Gaming Discord and try to get a game going, and then I can stream that maybe next week, Friday or Saturday, depending on if we can get our Among Us game going, which for anybody out there, if you want to start playing Among Us on like Fridays or Saturdays, right now that's open in our like stream schedule at like 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. I'm gonna start trying to find players consistently so that we can kind of, you know, kind of play and, you know, kill each other and stuff. I mean, do our tasks. Of course, I meant do our tasks. So yeah, let me know on Twitter. I'm DM_cross on Twitter. Follow our Predator Gaming Twitter account at Predator_gaming. Twitch.tv Predator_gaming. YouTube.com I think is just Predator Gaming, all one word. Facebook.com I think is also Predator Gaming, all one word, and I think Instagram is Predator Gaming 1, because that one was a nightmare. So yeah, That's all I got for this week. This was fun. It'll be another deck in my Magic Online collection, and that I can hopefully crush all my friends with. Because that, I mean, have fun and play games and enjoy company with people